Hey team. Early last week, I did a workout with 100 chest to bar pull-ups and did not tear my hands. As a result, I was able to do pull-ups 3 or 4 days later and continue my training as normal. You can do the same thing, and I'm going to show you two components to my training plan that has allowed me to do this over the years. So last Monday, a large portion of the CrossFit community performed the workout called Murph, which includes 100 pull-ups. I did a version of it that had chest to bar pull-ups. So I did a full hang and pulled myself all the way until the bottom of my chest touched the pull-up bar. My hands were sweaty, I was tired, but I did not tear my hands. No calluses ripped off, and I feel perfectly fine 2 days later. The first component to this process is how you grab the bar. The position of your hand determines where the strain occurs. Now, if I grab the bar with my palm here, and then I wrap my fingers around, and my palm slides, what you'll notice is that I'm pinching the skin right here. And if I pinch the skin right there, I end up creating a thick callus right there. Now, if I move that skin out of the way and I contact right at this seam, right at this crease right here, and I contact it there, and I hold that position, then the force goes straight into the fingers instead of into creating that fold in the skin. And so if I grab it a little too high like this and pinch the skin, I thicken the skin. And as that skin gets thicker and thicker and I start sliding, that's what rips calluses off. But if I hold it right at that crease and keep my hand in that position, then I don't create that thickening of the skin right there, which means I just strengthen the muscles that hold that joint right there. So we've got some deep muscles in the hand and some deep muscles in the forearm that help me hold there. Now, as my forearm and as my hand gets tired, I have two options. One, I can take a quick break, let the blood flow recover the energy and get right back to it. Or two, I can grab the palm and then thicken the skin right there. And that thickening of the skin will give me a few more pull-ups in the short run, but it will give me much fewer pull-ups in the long run because every time I rip that skin off, every time I rip that callus off, I've got to take a week or two from my normal pull-up routine to heal that rip in the hand. And so what we want to do is put that seam right there and hang on and make sure that we don't bypass the strengthening of the musculature in order to thicken the skin for just a few more reps. And so over your training over the next year, you're going to want to pay attention to the position of the hand so that you can strengthen those deep hand and deep forearm muscles to keep those fingers in the right place, pressing straight down on the bar with every pull-up, as opposed to getting the thickening of the skin by grabbing just a little bit too high and pinching that skin right at that process. Now, in order to do that, a couple of things need to happen. One, you have to have awareness of where that hand is. And so progressing your pull-ups in order to be right at the edge of where you can keep that awareness is important. And two, having sets and reps where you're going until the muscles get fatigued and challenged, until the blood supply to those muscles get fatigued and challenged, but don't additionally push yourself to try to get a few more reps in a shorter period of time and bypass that musculature. So the first step is repeatedly positioning the hands and fingers to make sure you strengthen the musculature that holds that hand position and not trying to strengthen the skin and thicken the skin and bypass the musculature. The second is you need a training plan that allows you to hit the edges of what your grip can do over and over. We can then start to adjust the height of the pull-up bar. So a lower pull-up bar will have us focus on the hanging and the pulling won't be as difficult. But repetition after repetition really helps improve the blood supply to the musculature and allows you to have the focus on the hands being in the right position. This is the type of exercise where you can get hundreds a week, challenging the blood supply, but not damaging a lot of tissue and making yourself really sore. As you get more capable, you start to raise the height of that pull-up bar. As you raise the height of the pull-up bar, the amount of jumping that you have to do increases. And as the jumping starts to get tired, the amount of pulling that you have to do increases, but all the while right at the edge of what the grip can do from the hanging all the way to the pull. Now, as it gets higher and more difficult, you're able to do fewer and fewer reps, but you're pushing yourself up closer to a peak of your potential, ensuring that you build a steady base of the easier levels as you work your way towards the top. And so having the awareness that your finger position and the skin position on the pull-up bar creates a huge opportunity to strengthen the deep musculature of the hand and the forearm, and then progressing yourself up from there is what's going to get you chest to bar pull-ups in the realm of hundreds without tearing your hands. So jumping pull-ups in a progressive fashion with a focus on the position of the hands is going to strengthen those deep fingers and forearms. Then the awareness as you increase your skill level is going to help you prevent tearing your hands. It's going to give you more frequent training volume and allow you to progress in the long run.